What's going on YouTube? Taylor Prentice back here with another video. And if you guys are familiar with my channel, you know this is somewhat new of a type of video style that I'm going to be trying out, but I think it's going to work out pretty well. So let me know how you guys feel about it down below. And if you're new to the channel, this is my 75th video here on YouTube, so it's somewhat of a milestone. If you guys could hit that like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And yeah, if we could hit 300 subscribers soon, that would be super lit. I might do like a little giveaway or whatever, but with that being said, I'm always doing giveaways through like Robinhood and Webull. So if you guys need some free stocks and don't have either one of those brokerages, definitely click the link in the bio. Or if you guys want some free crypto through Coinbase, you guys can click that link too. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get on into it. So the first thing that I have to talk about, you probably already heard about, is Elon Musk offering to buy Twitter. So I think he offered like $40 billion, somewhere around there, which is just insane if you really think about it. But with that being said, it would push the share price of Twitter to like $54, I think, and right now it's sitting at about like 47. Today's actually Good Friday. I like kept checking stocks, and then eventually I was like, dude, why is nothing moving? It's Good Friday, makes sense, market's closed. But it'll be interesting to see how Twitter stock reacts on Monday when the markets open back up. Obviously the deal is not final. Elon said this was like his final offer, but I wouldn't be surprised if Twitter counter offers. I feel like they could probably try push their limits a little bit higher, but it does seem like most of the shareholders would probably want this sale to go through. But with that being said, obviously looking at this article right here, it says Musk wants to unlock Twitter's potential for free speech, and by doing that, he thinks that he would have to take the company private, which would be a huge ordeal, but I think it would actually really benefit social media for consumers. Obviously, places like Facebook and Instagram are even more restrictive than sites like Twitter, but freedom of speech has been hindered a little on Twitter. So I think it would be really cool if Elon did end up buying it, and I think it would give a lot of freedom of speech back to our country, and at least like on our social media sites, people will be able to speak freely. Whereas like obviously like people are always going to say stupid stuff, and there's always going to be people like crossing the line with freedom of speech, but like it's better to not have any restrictions than to like overly restrict things and end up being somewhere like China or somewhere like that, where it's like a very slippery slope. When things start to get restricted, the government seems to just want more power and more restrictions. So I think this is a step in the positive direction. But with that being said, it will be interesting to see if Elon actually gets it. He said he won't go any higher than his offer, and he's also said that if he's not able to reach an agreement with Twitter, he'll probably just sell out of the position he owns in the company. So it will be super interesting, and I think overall it's probably a good thing, and I really hope that the sale goes through and Elon is able to own Twitter. It'll probably be pretty crazy, but I think it would benefit social media, like I said, as a whole. So on to the next point. So this kind of ties in with my last point, actually, or like the last little news article, and I think people are kind of afraid that Tesla stock is going to drop. Obviously, like you see that they have this large recall, and it's the 8th time already this year, and we're only in the 4th month of 2022, so not something you really want to hear out of Tesla. And a lot of people are kind of skeptical that Elon is focusing so much on like this Twitter deal that he's kind of forget about Tesla or whatever. But it's like Elon is really good at being able to juggle multiple tasks, obviously like SpaceX and all the other brands and things that he's been able to create and do at once. I don't think one deal over Twitter is gonna make his like flagship company just fail. I think that's a pretty goofy outlook by most people, and I think Tesla's gonna be okay. I'm not somebody that's super knowledgeable about cars, but reading this article, obviously like the headlines seem pretty bad, but going through the article, it actually seems like it's really not that big of a deal. There was somewhere in here. Okay, yeah. So Ford Motor, for comparison, has issued 20 recalls affecting more than 2.1 million cars in 2022. So you haven't heard about that at all. I haven't, at least. So it's really interesting to just see how people go at Tesla and kind of use Tesla to get clicks to their websites, because obviously Ford is probably producing more cars, but 20 recalls is pretty steep, and I haven't heard anything about it. So having that perspective kind of changes my outlook on how I saw it. At first, when I was like, 8 recalls, that seems like a lot. And then you go even further in the article, and it says that these recalls aren't even like full recalls. A lot of the times, these people don't have to like take their vehicles in to get serviced or anything. It's just like a software update that they can do online, which is like another benefit of Tesla. Is a lot of their issues can be solved online. You don't always have to like go in somewhere, whereas most ICE vehicles, internal combustion exhaust, you will have to go get them serviced if you're having an issue where there's like a recall or something like that. So this pretty much, I feel like the headline grabs your attention, but there's not really any problems, like any further problems within the article that I could find. And if you go and watch my Tesla video on like, is this the end for Tesla, it kind of sums up like my opinions on Tesla, and that people are always going to be coming after it, even though it seems to be doing pretty well. And obviously, like, when you're like the top dog and the biggest competitor, people are going to try to point out all your flaws. So I think Tesla's just in a unique position where many car companies and automotive vehicle companies don't really catch as much flack as they do, even if their performance is worse or like the same. So keep that in mind when you hear bad news about Tesla. A lot of times it's not nearly as bad as people make it out to be. And for the next news, this is something that actually affects me personally. So I'm a Berkshire B holder, and it's actually done really, really well ever since the like big drop after COVID had kind of happened. It's been one of my best performing stocks. It's obviously like one of my safest plays, so it kind of makes sense, especially as like recession and all that, those fears kind of get more real. This stock will perform to do well, I think. And he pretty much said he has no plans to step down. He said he's in good health, which if you're a fan of Warren Buffett, this is something to be really happy about. Obviously, like, you don't want to see him step down. That'd be kind of weird. It'd be like, it was like watching Kobe retire or something. It's just like someone you never thought would be out of the game. So it's cool to see that he'll be around for a little while longer. I do think when he steps down, I don't think there'll be too much of a change. You got to keep in mind the team that he's had around him has been around him a long time, and they definitely like know how he moves and what his predictions are and how he treats the markets and everything. So it will be interesting to see when he does step down how that will go. I think there will be more attention to like tech stocks in his holdings when he steps down. Obviously him and Charlie Munger are a little bit more old school and don't really deal with like these high tech evaluations. But with that being said, they've always bought really great companies, and I'm happy that I own BRKB. And like I said, I am happy to see Warren Buffett is not stepping down. It will be like a very sad day in my heart when he steps down, just because I've always heard about him ever since like I was like a tiny little kid and had no interest in finances or whatever. So he's really just like a legend in this, and yeah, I would like to see him be in the game as long as he can be. And it's good to hear that he's in good health. So moving on to some like bad news, I guess, or could be bad news. Jamie Dimon, which if you guys don't know is the CEO of JP Morgan, he pretty much said that recession fears are pretty real right now. If you read through this article, he doesn't say that, oh, for sure a recession's going to happen, we're doomed, anything like that. He's pretty much just saying there's a bunch of things going on right now that could lead to a recession. He actually says, and no one actually knows what's going to turn out, so I'm not predicting a recession, but you know, it is possible, absolutely. So I think it's obviously really important to keep in mind like everything that's going on. Obviously inflation has gotten kind of out of hand. We have the Fed kind of increasing rates. We have the Ukraine-Russia situation still going on. We have like shortages, just supply chain issues still, and some of those may be getting worse, it seems like. So I agree with what Jamie Dimon was saying. I think it is definitely a good idea to just kind of keep your eyes peeled and be on your toes when it comes to a recession hitting. And that's another good point, is like, know how recessions affect the stock market. Each recession is kind of like a new thing, but you can go back and look at them over time. It seems like towards the end of recessions, or like before they're even over actually, that stocks seem to come back to life. So just keep that in mind. If we do go into a recession, how that will affect your investing strategy and just stocks in general. The last point I wanted to talk about is Robinhood. So I actually still use Robinhood. I know a lot of people talk down on it, but I think one of the biggest reasons that they did so well like a year or two ago is because they had like Dogecoin. So if you're not familiar with how Robinhood makes money, they make money on each transaction, and having all those new users come in to just buy Dogecoin through Robinhood because they didn't own like a crypto brokerage before and they didn't own stocks, but they really wanted to like get into that social arbitrage play with Dogecoin or things like that. Even like Bitcoin was like a big reason why people downloaded Robinhood. So I think this was a smart move by Robinhood to add Shiba, Solana, Polygon, and Compound, which are just other crypto coins that are pretty popular. I've actually I don't think I've heard of Compound. I might have heard of it, but I'm not familiar with it at all. Obviously, Shiba is kind of like Doge. Solana and Polygon, I believe, are kind of competitors with Ethereum. I know Solana actually has its own NFT program, or like NFT site. It's called Solanart. I was gonna try selling NFTs through there at one point because there's no fees to like post them like there is when you go through like OpenSea. There's no like Ethereum gas fees or anything like that. So I think Solana could be really big in the long term, especially if they're able to grasp like a lot of that NFT market. The reason why I didn't end up going with them to like sell NFTs, well, I haven't like listed any NFTs for sale, but the specific reason I didn't with Solanart is you like have to get approved by them and you have to have like a big collection. So it just wasn't something that I was ready for, but at the same time, it kind of keeps away like the gimmicky projects, I feel like. So it could bring some validity and authority to NFTs. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any other interesting news that's going on in the market, definitely let me know down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment. I would really appreciate it. And I would like to just see how the audience reacts to these kinds of videos, because they are pretty easy for me to make, I feel like. And I feel like I can just stay more on track. I don't like script out my videos or anything because I feel like I would just talk like a robot. So having text in front of me kind of makes it easier to relay the information in my head rather than me just like rambling on about stuff. But that will be it. So thank you if you made it to this point, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.